One simple question for you. What do you do if you don't have any inspiration? You tested all kind of tools out and nothing really worked out for a track that you just started, or maybe that you're working on some time on it and just something doesn't work. So this happens now and then for me. Currently this is a season of life where this happens right now, you know. So yeah, that's why I want to make this video for you. So maybe you feel the same currently, or maybe in the future, or maybe in the past. But we can be sure that this will happen again, because we are producers, we are creatives, you know, and this is a normal thing that happens, you know, during the stage of production. And this is, I think, the most important thing to understand. So it happens to writers, painters, all kinds of artists, you know. We feel stuck on some level, and it's totally normal to feel like this, to feel demotivated, to feel no inspiration at all. That's totally fine. But the more important thing is, in my opinion, to keep playing, you know, to sit down and do some work. The ancient Roman, whenever a person, an artist or something, put out a masterpiece, they used to say it's not from the artist itself, but it was from his genius, some kind of force, you know, that put the ideas into his head. I call it the genius from the wall, you know. Sometimes he shows up, puts great ideas into the DAW or whatever gear you work with, and sometimes that guy is not showing up for days, for weeks sometimes, you know. And yeah, sometimes I have the feeling this genius from the wall wants to test us, you know. If we keep playing, I have the feeling we increase the chance that we get good ideas out of it, you know. And so the key point, in my opinion, is that we should keep playing even when it's hard, even when it's demotivated, frustrating. We should keep playing, in my opinion. So that's what I always do, you know. Just today I popped it up again, only shit turned out, honestly, only shit turned out. But yeah, I'm here to hopefully inspire you and give you some motivation back, because there's probably some kind of reason that you searching for those videos. So maybe you feel stuck, feel uninspired maybe, or you simply seek inspiration, you know. So that's why this channel exists in the first place. So yeah, now let's uncover this week's video: how to beat writer's block. Some strategies that you can follow along, that I use and that I used in the past, that worked for me. But the first thing really is to keep playing. That's the most important thing I found for myself, you know. So let's start and let's jump in. So number one, first thing what I try to do is seeking inspiration from different sources. So for example, number one is from sample packs, you know. I maybe pop up or just insert or play some samples, you know, and I try to get a feeling what kind of sound, you know, could probably work inside the track, and then I have at least some kind of a direction where to go, you know. So if you really feel stuck and in the middle of a track, maybe I like to pop up some samples, some loops, and trying out different kind of melodies, maybe some kind of groove elements I like to add to see what actually works, to see what kind of sound probably could work inside the track, and then I move on and try to emulate something similar, or maybe extract the melody or the midis and then go from there and hopefully get some inspiration out of that, right? Next thing I like to do is to actually go through all project files, open up old project files, seeking some inspiration, searching for some gold, like I call it. And sometimes this really works really well. Some scrolling through some unfinished tracks, maybe just picking out something out of the track that I like and then put it back in the current project. This is also something that often works if I get stuck, or if you get stuck inside a session, you know, during the production stage, where you get to some level and you feel stuck maybe in the middle of the project, you know. You get something going, some kind of nice kind of sound, you think, okay, that's nice, but something is missing. And I tried those two strategies. So basically, again, popping up some loops, some samples, looking into old projects. And the third thing I like to do in those scenarios is to actually maybe seek inspiration from other tracks, you know. I'm focusing on one element maybe and think, okay, maybe I can try to emulate that or get inspired by that certain element, that bass line, that texture, the overall vibe maybe, and try to emulate that, and hopefully I can keep pushing, keep going with within that track that I'm stuck with, right? Another strategy, if I get stuck just in the beginning, I maybe just try to keep a groove going on pretty quickly, but sometimes it just doesn't click. So sometimes it helps to actually change up the whole process, right? If I usually start with a kick, then a bass line, and building up from there, you know, adding claps, hi-hats, whatnot. And I often use MD Snake to deliver some kind of bass lines and whatnot. I probably should change that from time to time and seek some inspiration from other sources. But up to now it worked pretty well for me, but sometimes if it's not working, I should probably change the process and do the opposite, maybe starting out with the melody, you know, with the main part, and build from there. So basically jamming out with a certain tool, just pure jamming, recording, and then pick out a certain part that I like and then build up from there, you know, building the kick based on that melody of the texture, whatever it is, and then go from there. So it's a different approach. Maybe you are already doing this. Maybe if you get stuck with this strategy, then maybe, or process, then maybe you need to change it up and start building it up from the kick and the bass line and whatnot, you know. But I think many producers actually start this way. I don't know why, but whenever you get stuck, maybe try to infuse another process, you know, changing up the process, you know. Next thing is actually, you know, not caring too much about the outcome, you know. I found whenever I feel some kind of pressure or some kind of writer's block, I found that I put too much pressure on myself, you know, to actually write something that is release worthy, you know, but it does need to be, you know. I heard from some producers, Rocco, what was his name? I don't remember his name, but he said he probably releases just 20% of the tracks he's producing. If you finish 50 tracks, that's about 10 tracks that he actually releases, right? That's really small in some level, you know. But that's why I think it's important to keep the focus on actually finishing tracks rather than starting a new one and another loop, but actually finish that piece. And with every finished track you gain more knowledge, more sound design skills, more aha moments, and you really evolve your skills, you know. And oftentimes it also helps to play around with some new tools, maybe plugins, synths, but I would take this with a grain of salt, you know. Hey friend, I'll jump back into the video in a second, but before we do so, I want to say thank you. Thank you that you watched so far. Really, this means a lot. I wouldn't make those videos if no one would watch, so you watched this far. So I want to reward that, and I want to give you something for free, which is my Ableton Live One Tool preset pack. So this is basically Ableton Live based stock pack. Those are basically presets, you know, that you can drag and drop into your channels. Let's jump quickly in and see some examples how this can help you out and how it can inspire you, and then we jump back to the content. Thanks for watching. Sounds pretty different, right? Those are little sound design tools to keep you going. Hopefully, go and grab it, it's for free. Let's make this a little bit dirtier maybe. Right? Automated. Another tool here. Right? Pretty simple. Again, those are not the most complicated whatever tools. They are simple, straightforward tool to make a little bit of impact, to add those little things that I like to talk all the time in my videos, which is add things that you can feel but not hear, you know. So that's the sound, right? Clean and nice. And now let's transform it with those tools. Of course we want some additional grooves, right? Now you can transform shit pretty easily with those tools. It lets you really tweak stuff, you know, that's my whole point. It's not the fanciest shit, but it's quick and an easy fix, and that inspires you, you know. Combine it, add more stuff, add more tools, and it keeps you going. I hope it does, you know. So let's add some stuff to this, maybe. Right? Let's make quick A/B. Sounds pretty different, right? Those are little sound design tools to keep you going. Hopefully, go and grab it for free. I also want to show what's possible with one simplistic, minimalistic tools. You know, you can transform your shit with stock plugins. So yeah, if you want that, grab it on the link below. Thanks for watching. Now let's get back to the content, because you can quickly fall into the habit of gear acquisition syndrome. You know, basically you want that tool, you think, okay, if I just get that tool, I can produce whatever I want, you know. I can produce crazy tracks, hit records, whatever, you know what I mean. And I found oftentimes that's the opposite is often true, you know. Sometimes I buy a new plugin or I test a new plugin, it sparks some inspiration, yes, but sometimes it can also overwhelm you. So the opposite of this would actually be limit yourself. So that's again, you know, that's stupid somehow. Yeah. Some people say limit yourself, others say get yourself inspired by other tools, you know, and there's a small line I found. Sometimes it helps to actually limit yourself to a certain set of tools, you know. So for example, you maybe just saw me using Ableton Live stock plugins or only using freeware tools. That's some challenges I sometimes do for myself, you know, to challenge myself and maybe try different approaches, strategies. And that can often work to beat writer's block, but also on the other hand, it often works if I infuse some fresh gear, you know, trying different tools, even changing the environment. That also helps a lot, you know. And that's the next point. So the next thing is changing your environment. Sometimes it just helps to move your workspace if you can, of course. You know, if you have a wall of modular, that's probably difficult, you know, but maybe just infuse some kind of change, you know. Maybe the lighting even can help. So I don't know, personally I have a laptop that I can move maybe to the living room. I heard producers releasing on some decent labels actually producing in their bed, you know. Yeah, really, with headphones lying in their bed, you know. And he has some decent releases out there, and he told me that. I don't know, it doesn't really matter, you know. Just keep the juice flowing, just keep playing. That's the most important thing, as I already mentioned in the beginning, right? So the next thing is simple, have a note app ready. So I found often sometimes if I'm just outside somewhere, maybe riding the bike, maybe doing the dishes, maybe jumping out of the shower, or maybe just playing with my kids in the sandbox, I get the best ideas away from the DAW, you know, or from the studio. And then I maybe come up with some kind of solutions, you know, or some kind of strategy or approach that I can probably test in the studio. So I make a little list, maybe if it's more than one idea, and just make a list, and then whenever I go back to the studio next day, I can quickly flip up that list and maybe choose one of those ideas. If it's just one, then I choose that one, and then I can experiment and hopefully can beat writer's block. So yeah, those are my strategies that I often try and had great results. Sometimes it's infusing new gear, new plugins, buying sample packs, buying presets, buying nothing, you know, just limiting myself to freeware stuff, limiting myself to Ableton things. It's an art form, and you need to experience it and test things out, what works for you and what does not work for you, you know. It's personal thing, you know. Sometimes, just yesterday, I tried to move to my living room to write something, but that didn't work out. I don't know. Most important thing you can do to beat writer's block, in my opinion, is to just keep playing. I like to reference sometimes to a sports club, you know, to a team, you know. They don't always play good games, you know. Sometimes they have bad days, and it's totally normal, you know. Why should we always perform on peak level as producers, as artists? Most often we do not, you know. I'm honest with you. I'm not always delivering best content, in my opinion, but I try to give my best, and hopefully I can inspire some people out there. And yeah, to sum this up again, number 1, changing up the process. Number 2, get inspiration from other resources like sample packs, maybe presets, maybe old project files works great for me. Making lists away from the studio, right? So you have something in your hands whenever you jump back into the studio. And next thing is limiting yourself or infuse some fresh stuff into your studio. Small line, it's actually the opposite, right? Yeah, let's discuss in the comment sections if you like what your strategies actually are. I'm really curious, and maybe we can get a little bit of a conversation going on if you like to share some stuff, and maybe also share your struggles if you have some. I'm currently struggling with writer's block, of course. I do sometimes, and I do even if it doesn't look like this on the YouTube videos. Maybe oftentimes those videos are cut to the good parts. I don't want to waste your time, so I cut only the good things I think is good to learn from, that is inspirational. So sometimes those videos are a 1 hour jam, and then I cut it down to a 15-minute, 20-minute long video. So yeah, I hope this helps, and don't forget, just keep playing, most important thing, and also don't overthink too much. Just finish tracks, as many as you can. And yeah, I like to think about the 80% rule, so not even 80%, maybe 70% rule. Just finishing a track as much as I can up to my 70% of skill set, my current skill set. Here's my 100%, and I try to finish my track to 70. This is my 70, right? So I don't hopefully fuck around too much with perfectionism and whatnot, just getting the shit done. And that's what I do, by the way, with those videos. They are not perfect, they are far away from perfect. They'll probably have 70%, I don't know. Hopefully they inspire you. And yeah, if you have some strategies, some input, what works for you to beat writer's block, please leave a comment below, and yeah, let me know what else you want me to cover. Hope to see you next week. Cheers, bye bye, with some fresh, inspiring Ableton Live content.